Picture a kitchen table at 9 at night. The house is quiet. There is a paper in front of you and a pen already touching the line where your name goes. Nobody pressured you. It is a good thing you are about to do, a kind thing, a generous thing, and your hand is hovering because something inside you has gone very still, and you do not know what that stillness is. That stillness has a name. It is God asking for the pen. Money moves quietly. There is no thunder when you send the transfer. That is exactly why the enemy works so patiently here. A decision made in 3 seconds can shape 3 years, and nobody will ever call it a spiritual event. I want to be very clear. God is not asking you to hold your money tighter. He is asking you to hold it slower. There are 6 ordinary money decisions believers make every week without a single prayer, and each one quietly opens a door you did not mean to open. Most teaching on money goes straight to the large decisions, the house, the business, the debt. That is not where believers get hurt most often. They get hurt in the small ones, the ones that feel too minor to bring to God. And because they feel too minor, they get made alone. Brother, sister, here is what Scripture keeps showing us. God is never in a hurry with money, and the enemy always is. Urgency is the fingerprint. 1. Lending money to family. Imagine this. Your phone lights up on the counter, and it is a name you love. You know what the message says before you open it. You have read a version of it 3 times this year, and you type yes before working out whether the money exists because saying no to that name feels like saying no to being a good Christian. 6 weeks later, something has changed. Not in your bank account, in the room. There is a subject the two of you now step around, and you cannot tell anyone why. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 26 says, "Do not be one who shakes hands and pledge for another's debts." Pledge, not gift, not help. Pledge, a binding of yourself to an outcome you do not control. The warning is not against generosity. It is against attaching your peace to someone else's decisions. What broke the relationship was not the money. It was the expectation that came with it and was never spoken out loud. God never asked you to purchase someone's approval with a loan or to trade a relationship for a transaction and carry the silence afterward. Before you send it, ask one question. Can I give this? And never think about it again. If the answer is no, it is not ready to leave your hands, and that is not a lack of faith. That is honesty. 2. Giving because of what you felt in the room. Let's say you are in a service and something is building. The music swells, the appeal is passionate, and your chest tightens in a way you have learned to read as God moving. Your hand goes to your wallet before your mind gets a vote. You give, and you feel wonderful for about 40 minutes. Then Tuesday comes with the electricity bill, and there is a knot where the joy was. You start to resent something you meant as worship. 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 7 says, "Each of you should give what you have decided in your heart to give, not under compulsion." Decided, past tense. The verse assumes the decision already happened somewhere quieter than the room you are sitting in. Not because emotion is bad, but because emotion cannot hold what a decision can. Emotional giving is not generosity. It is atmosphere doing what only prayer should be doing. God never asked you to prove your faith at the speed of a music cue. He is not honored by an amount you regret by. This week, decide your giving before you enter the room. Write the number down, then let the room move you, and give the number anyway. Before we go further, I know some of you recognized yourself in the last one, and it stung a little. Hold that. If something has already surfaced, write the words, "I will pray before I promise," in the comments, not as a comment, as a covenant with the person you are choosing to become. Subscribe to the Bible warnings, and let us keep going, because the next 4 are the ones almost nobody names. 3. Moving the tithe to the end of the month. Picture this. The money lands and you look at the list. Rent, food, the car thing you keep ignoring, the school payment, and you think a completely reasonable thought, "I will take care of God's portion once I see what is left." Nothing dramatic happens. That is the problem. Month after month, there is less left than you expected, and the giving becomes whatever survives the list. You have quietly moved God to the end of the queue and told yourself it is the same thing. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 9 says, "Honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops." First fruits, not leftovers, not surplus, not what remains. The word is about order, not amount. God is not asking for more. He is asking to be first, because what you put first is what you actually trust. Giving from what is left over is not sacrifice. It is scheduling, and God can tell the difference. God never asked you to give an amount that terrifies you. He asked for a position in the order, and He never asked you to earn back a place you already have with Him. Next time money arrives, do one thing before you open the list. Pray over the order, not the total. 4. Buying something to make a feeling stop. Let's take a look at this together. It is late. You are in bed, and the day sat on you harder than usual. Your thumb is moving before you decided anything. Something goes in the cart. You press the button, and a small warmth arrives. 4 seconds of it, and the ceiling is still the ceiling. 4 days later, the box arrives, and you feel nothing. The box was never the point. The purchase was a prayer you did not know how to pray. Luke chapter 14, verse 28 asks, "Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Will you not first sit down and estimate the cost?" First, before the wanting turns into moving. Jesus is teaching you to put a pause between the desire and the hand, and that pause is where God is allowed to speak. What you have called overspending was never really about money. It was about comfort, bought in the only currency you had available at 11 at night. God never asked you to manage your own ache alone. He never designed His comfort as something you top up at checkout. Put one night between you and any purchase you make after dark. If it still makes sense in the morning, buy it freely. 5. Promising money that does not exist yet. Picture this. You are on the phone and you hear yourself say it, "I will cover that." And you meant it entirely. You were counting on the extra work, the payment that was almost certain. Then almost certain became not this month. Now you are avoiding someone you love over a sentence you meant with your whole heart. Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 5 says it is better not to make a vow than to make one and not fulfill it. Fulfill. The weight sits on the completion, not the sincerity. God is not measuring how much you meant it. He is looking at whether the person on the other end was told the truth. A promise made on money you have not received is not faith. It is a forecast wearing faith's clothing. God never asked you to guarantee a future only He can see. Being unable to promise is not a failure of generosity. It is the beginning of integrity. Change the sentence. Say, "Let me pray about it, and I will come back to you tomorrow." Then come back. The waiting costs nothing and protects everything. 6. Saying yes before you have heard the whole thing. Imagine this. Someone is halfway through explaining a need, a plan, an opportunity. You are already nodding. You have not heard the terms, the timeline, or what happens if it fails. But the person is warm and urgent and watching your face, and the silence would feel unkind. So you agree, and spend 3 months rearranging your life around a decision that took 4 seconds. Proverbs chapter 18 verse 13 says to answer before listening. That is folly and shame. Before. The failure is not the answer being wrong. It is the answer arriving early, ahead of understanding, ahead of God. The enemy rarely needs you to choose evil. He only needs you to choose quickly. Speed is not decisiveness. In money, speed is almost always somebody else's need, overriding your discernment. God never asked you to be immediately available with your yes. He gave you a delay on purpose, and He never called your pause unkindness. From today, one sentence is your covering. I do not decide money in the room. Say it kindly. Say it every time. Go back to that kitchen table. 9 at night. Quiet house. The pen still touching the line. Nothing about that moment was wrong. The kindness was real. The only thing missing was 30 seconds and a question. Lord, is this yours, and is this now? That stillness was not doubt, and it was not fear. Was God asking for the pen, not to take the decision from you, but to stand inside it with you? Every warning here is one instruction. Do not decide alone. Put the pen down. Ask. Then pick it up and sign with a peace nobody can take from you afterward. Write, "I will pray before I promise," in the comments, not as a comment, as a covenant with the person you are finally choosing to become. Send this to someone who has been quietly saying yes to every financial request and has no idea God never asked them to. Subscribe to the Bible Warnings, because here we do not just name the danger, we show you what God says you deserve instead. May every decision you make this month be one you can pray over before you make it and sleep over after. And may your peace stop being the price of your generosity.